everyone. Welcome to the Enlightrepreneurs Wednesday Facebook Live. I'm here with my business partner, Dave Gold. Dave, give a wave.
Yo, Justin, Ken.
Good to see you, Justin Minott here. And we are here with the wonderful, and Dave says I say wonderful and incredible and stuff too much, but it's true. Ken's the real deal. The Ken Branson from Mastermind Productions, CEO, owner, running the show, making some big moves, and having a blast doing it. Good to have you here, Ken.
Thank you, brother. It's good to be here.
Man, all right. So let's dive right into it. Ken, you have an incredible story, an incredible journey from where you've been to where you are now. Give us the play-by-play and we'll go back and forth in it. But what has your entrepreneurial and life journey looked like?
Man, thanks for asking, brother. I tell you what, it's definitely been a journey, right, to say the least. But this thing all started off when I got out of the Marine Corps. I don't know. Let's start off when I first realized that I had a passion for stealing things.
Were you good at it too?
I thought I was until I got the last charge. Right. So I started some therapy probably about 4 years ago, just diving in, becoming aware who I am and why do I do the things that I do. And I realized that I started stealing money, back in the 7th grade.
Wow.
It literally started at I'm so embarrassed to tell this story sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, I hope my granddaddy, what if he ever finds out? But anyway, I started stealing quarters out of his ashtray to go up to the payphone and call my girlfriend at the time, who went back home for the summertime. And that was the first accounts of when I started stealing things, man. And it just literally progressed from there. Every job that I had, I was taken from. I only got caught one time as a youth, but of course I got caught as an adult as well. Then the last time was after I got out of the Marine Corps. I was servicing ATM machines for a company called Diebold, and looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars every day, like 8, 9, 10 times a day. It became a temptation that was too great. I was only 20 years old, 21 years, maybe I think like 19 to 20 years old. But the temptation was too great, man. And I started pinching some money out of the cassette. A cassette is about the size of a shoebox, right? In an ATM, and every ATM or most ATMs can hold up to 4 cassettes. Okay. Let me just give you an idea of how much money was in these things. So if one cassette is filled, which it never is, to capacity, it holds close to $250,000. We're talking $250,000 of $20 bills at 20 years old. That's just in one cassette, right? So if it was ever an ATM that was like a Cash Points ATM that was in the middle of a parking lot of a busy street, right? That maybe 2 cassettes was probably close to full at any given time. Right. So we talking, anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000 that I have to see probably 8 to 10 times a day.
Wow.
Right. So anyway, needless to say, I started pinching money here, pinching money there. And before you know it, before I knew it, I was called in like, hey, we think you're stealing money. What's up? So that was the end of that journey. To make a super long story short, I ended up with 13 felony larcenies in 3 different counties. I had a maximum sentence of 365 months. I actually had a suspended sentence. I did not go to prison at first, but they gave me a suspended sentence, providing that I pay back about $40,000 of restitution in 5 years. So that was the journey. From there, I started selling drugs, selling cocaine, and started selling weed because I couldn't get a job. Right. So the entrepreneur spirit was always in me. Having money was always in me, but I never knew the right way to go get it. Right. So thank God I never got caught selling drugs. That led to businesses, and that, it trickled on down to where we are today. So, of course, it's a lot of details in there, man. But I just wanted to give you that much and put the ball back in y'all court.
Well, and I love that you said that the entrepreneurial spirit has been in you from the whole time. And, you were directing it in certain directions that didn't serve you well in the long term, but that spirit is there. And I think that's, just to make a point, something that a lot of people miss when they look at, you know, young guys who are out dealing drugs or whatever. They don't see the entrepreneur. Like, these guys are really doing it and making a business out of it, and they could be directing it in a different path. But to just even see themselves as an entrepreneur first, I think would be a game changer, which anyway, I love entrepreneurship.
No, that's good. I'll tell you one quick. A lot of people have heard of Bishop T.D. Jakes. He's a well-known mega pastor down in Texas. But I heard him say one time. He said drug dealers are they in the right business. They just have the wrong product. That's what he said, bro. And he said, like, it's buy low, sell high. That's what Walmart do it every day. Buy low, sell high. We just had the wrong product, right? But that just let me know in hindsight that, you know, I was really on to something, and I just hadn't quite brought that skill from the basement to the balcony yet.
Sure. So Ken, I got a question for you, because one of the things that Justin and I do every day, and we work with entrepreneurs, is follow your passion. You know, follow. How does something make you feel? So do you feel like, how did you feel when you were doing these things? Did you feel, was there something in you that just was rebelling against it, or did it just feel like this was the most perfectly natural thing in the world for you to be doing?
Stealing money for ATMs. My parents, they raised me well, so I already knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it was a matter of it was a thrill for me. In hindsight, I learned that it was a thrill. It was something adventurous, risky about, you know, being locked inside of this ATM in the middle of a parking lot and walking out. You know, it was my job. I didn't break into it, right? But walking out with $2,000 to $4,000 every time I, you know, went inside the ATM machine, right? So that was that thrill that it just never left me. And guess what? It's still a part of me today.
Yeah.
But I just found a way to take it from the basement to the balcony.
Wow. So talk more about Mastermind Productions. What are you up to? How did you land in this field of work?
That's a good question, man. So after the ATM stuff, excuse me, after the ATM, I should have got me some water. All right. So after the ATM stuff, you know, obviously it wasn't getting no job. And I started cutting grass. I was doing lawn care in Winston-Salem before I moved to Durham. I moved to Durham, and I was literally, I moved to Durham because my mentor, who was my pastor, my youth pastor in Winston-Salem, he started a church in Durham. So I moved to Durham in 2007. But shortly before I moved to Durham, I don't know if you guys remember, in 2007, we had a drought. Right. And that, as a result of the drought, I couldn't cut grass anymore. So let me tell you a quick story about this entrepreneurial journey, man. I invested in a real estate investment package. I had a coach and everything. My coach was like, hey, you need to go to a real estate investment group. I found one that met at a Golden Corral. I was in there to learn how to bird dog properties, how to get a property under contract and sell the contract till somebody had the money. So if I got it under contract,
You're wholesaling, right? Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Right. I went in there the first day and I realized they had something in common. All of these freaking real estate investors, they could not find a reliable person to cut their grass, bro. Like, I'm at this time, I'm hungry for money, right? I'm like, wait a minute. So this bird dogging thing is going to take a while to do. So I can cut y'all grass in the meantime. So literally I went in a shirt and tie the first week. Every week after that, I went in grass stains and a t-shirt smelling like gasoline and exhaust fumes. Right. But, so 2007, the drought came, all that stuff ended, and I moved to Durham. I was sleeping on the couch of one of my buddy's house that I went to church with. And my pastor invited me to a seminar or a training that this guy was doing for the AV ministry at the church. So I went to the training, and he was teaching people how to edit videos, put stuff up on the screens, and video the sermon and put it up on public access television. And it was this girl who, you know, I call her girl because we was young then, but it was you know, we were the same age. Was a part of the ministry at the time, and she was just like, this is a little bit harder than you think. My version of the story is she told me I couldn't do it.
Right.
So after that training, I literally locked myself in the basement for 6 days straight, and I learned how to edit videos. It was the first time I ever edited videos. It's on YouTube right now. It's the very, very first video on my YouTube channel that was created in December 2007, and it's horrible. Like, it's horrible, but I will not take it down for that reason. And that was actually the start of Mastermind Productions, right there in the basement of the church, December 2007.
Wow.
And what did you have any vision on what you were doing, or were you just putting your left foot in front of your right foot?
No, I did it simply because she told me I couldn't do it. Literally, obviously, my pastor was my mentor. He saw something in me that I didn't know, and he just invited me to come out. He's like, I think you can do this, right? So I just followed him. He was my mentor. I trusted him, right? He's next in line to my dad. You know what I mean? So he invited me. I came. This is what we had today.
Wow. What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
What about the production world do you love the most? You know, because you do a ton of amazing work, but it seems like it all has a common thread or a theme to your trajectory. So what about this makes you come alive?
The thrill.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I told you that the thrill is still a part of my life. Immediate gratification is still a part of my life. I just found a way to take it from the basement to the balcony. I found ways that are legal, ways that are very profitable. Where I can lay my head down at night and not knowing that the police not gonna knock on my door and take me to jail. I can lay my head down at night and not thinking somebody trying to rob me because they think I got cocaine in here or whatever. Like, I found a way to feed my immediate gratification through production, right? Talk about, we briefly talked about the camera and the mic and all the other good jazz on this live here, and how I always have to put my best foot forward. Like, literally, I'm practicing, bro. Like, this is not about, hey, come and see Ken shine, but this is about, when I plug this mic into there, how can I make sure I continually get a signal and it don't go out? What kind of cameras can I use that can make sure the feed is continual, right? So it's always, I'm always faced with a challenge when it comes to streaming, to production. So this is just a good way to feed my thrill.
Right, and you're overcoming obstacles every second in your I mean,
That's
I just saw one of your Instagram posts is you deep in a river trying to get one shot right? But even that is part of the thrill, like the work of even getting the right shot, or what people don't even see goes behind the scenes to get that. So yeah.
And the crazy part about that, bro, is that wasn't even my photo shoot. I was assisting Chris Nito. Like, I had a light. A lot of people, they was in my inbox like, or comment like, oh, this is a dope picture, man, a good job. And I'm like, bro, I was holding a light. You know what I mean? I joke around with Chris Nito all the time. Check him out. He's a very dope photographer, composite photographer. But I said, man, I don't know about posting this, man. I might get my black card revoked because I'm in the freaking middle of a river, like neck deep in certain parts. I'm like, bro, like, I can't see at the bottom. Like, dude, I must really like this, or guess what? It was a thrill, I guess, right?
So Ken, you got on, I mean, on your shirt, it says really clear, Ken tells stories. You're a story guy. So how did you making sense of your own life story help others make sense of their lives and be able to tell a story?
Oh, that's a great question, man. And oftentimes I have this conversation when I sit down in consultations with clients. They ask me like how? And I'll be like, I can't tell you how, but the only thing I can tell you is that I put my life journey, I use my life's journey in every single project that I do. I take every opportunity that I have. For instance, let's talk about Hub RTP. It's a project that was just released yesterday that we started working on at the beginning of the month. They asked me, Ken, how are you going to do this? And I'm like, I can't tell you how. You know why? Because I don't know how. You know what I mean? And if I could tell you how, you wouldn't be able to afford it because it's the secret sauce at that time. So what I do say is, give me every single opportunity I can to tell this story. Right. So what they gave me was their must-haves. They say, Ken, I want to see this person, these people in the video. I want these things talked about. I want. I guess that's pretty much it. They gave me the people and they gave me, what they wanted to talk about. From there, I said, hey, let me use my sauce to put this thing together. And that's where it comes from. Right. So I hope that answered your question, Dave.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So what projects are you working on right now that would be of interest to people? What are you excited about right now?
Definitely everything in the production world I'm excited about. We just recently did a project for Golden Leaf Foundation in Greensboro or wherever they at, but we did a virtual conference. Actually, it was a hybrid conference where we were maneuvering around 350 people to breakout sessions and break, all this other good jazz. So production world right now is, especially in the midst of this international pandemic, is the driving force for me. Me and my partner Kenya are working on a project for state employees combined campaign right now. We are excited about that. Every single project we get our hands on, we're excited about. I will tell you, we did a funeral for the first time about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Wow. Where the lady wanted it to be not live streamed, but there was an overflow because of how many people could not be in the actual chapel. So we had to literally set up everything like we're doing a live production, all cameras, all the equipment, bring the computers. We had to set that up in the back of the chapel to stream out a signal to the overflow, which was outside in a big old tent, right? That was a thrill in and of itself. But get this, they called me Friday night at about 5:30 and the funeral was Saturday at about 1 o'clock. And we had to get there at 9 a.m. to set up to be ready to go at 1 o'clock. I didn't get to do a site visit. All I could, it was so many different variables that I was like, yo, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. But just let me get in the building as early as possible, and I guarantee figure it out. So that's how I tell every single story that comes across our desk.
Right. You say yes first, and then you figure it out after that.
Man, I've been doing that my whole 13 years. I've been doing that, bro.
This is what's so cool for entrepreneurs, especially for the entrepreneurs that are listening here, watching, is that you don't know. We don't know how. Entrepreneurs, you don't know how. You start off with an idea and you don't know how, and you're able to stay confident in the unknown, right? You don't know how you're going to do it, but the fact that you don't know, that doesn't freak you out.
Right.
So is that visibly a weird quirk you have, or how? If another entrepreneur said, "Look, right now I don't know how. I know what I want to do, but I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to do it." What would you tell them in terms of just being able to stay, tap into a part of themselves that is confident?
Dave, I tell you what, man. I often shy away from this type of advice, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think I got an advantage that a lot of people don't. The advantage I have is I don't have a choice. Mm. Like nobody is going to hire a 13-time convicted felon that stole money. Like you just can't be trusted. It's not like, I got caught with a brick of cocaine or something that's forgivable. But like every job is going to require something. It's going to be something that can be stole. And a lot of people are not going to trust me to do that. Now, so the advice I would give to, and again, I'm very careful, to an entrepreneur who is just sitting around trying to figure things out, I would say, just go. Mm-hmm. Right? You're going to jack it up. You're going to make mistakes. This may not be the path that you choose to be on in 10 years, but who cares? When I started out, I was doing video broadcasting, but I wasn't even broadcasting nothing. We videoed it, recorded it, edited it, and sent it to public access television, and they aired it. Right. And then I filmed my first wedding in just a year after. So it's September 20th of 2008, Corey and Terica Rawlinson. I'll never forget them. But they said, how are you going to do it? I filmed their wedding with 2 cameras, one person. I put one camera stationary to give me a wide shot, and I was floating around with the other camera. So I had a 2-shot wedding. Guess what? I started doing more weddings and I hated it. I didn't like the way it looked afterwards. So I completely shifted away from video and started doing sports action photography. So I'm like, man, I just kept shifting until I got to where I am 13 years later. This did not happen overnight. But at the end of the day, guess what? I took a step and I just kept going. Hold on. Let me back up. I didn't like the way my video looked when I filmed my second wedding in 2009. So I started this crazy thing in my head was like, maybe if I can incorporate photos into my video, video somehow it can make it enhance it and make it look better. I don't even know why I had that thought process, but I had a camera and I learned how to take pictures on manual, and I walked around with the freaking instruction manual, owner's manual, in my back pocket at all times. Shout out to Felon McKinnon down in Rayford, I don't know, down in the 910, but she called me the professor because I always had my owner's manual in my back pocket. And that led me to doing sports action photography, where I was taking pictures and printing them out on site, immediate gratification. I would, walk away sometimes with $300 all the way up into $1,000 from doing a basketball tournament, because I would take pictures and print them out on site, immediate gratification. So I just kept going. And guess what happened from that? Somebody was like, hey, can you come and take pictures at a birthday party and print pictures out at a birthday party? I was like, yes. Like, of course I can. But at that time, I didn't even know that was called a photo booth. Right. So from that came the red carpet photo station, right? Where we bring a custom step and repeat backdrop with a red carpet. Like, you see how it just progressed, but it all only progressed because I took that first step and I just kept going. Right. Sometimes we get paralysis of analysis, and we try to think this thing through, think it all out on paper before we even take the first step. And that ain't even how this thing works.
No, you got to get out there. And I mean, that's a classic. People just tinkering in the garage on a widget without actually getting out there and testing it in the real market. And what I love about that is so applicable for all the entrepreneurs listening, is what's the next step? You don't have to have all of the steps figured out, but the next step's going to lead you to the next door, which is going to open up a whole world. Like, if you end up 10 years from now exactly where you thought you would end up 10 years from now, you're not trying.
Nope.
Right? That's easy. Like, it's like, okay, well, yeah, no, you're not trying. You're not staying curious and open and motivated to actually learn and grow. And so I just love, man, I'm just so inspired by that journey there.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Dave, well, ask a question. I'm just reeling. This is.
Yeah, you go. You rebel. I know. I get this time. So, Ken.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep asking you the hard questions that you normally. I told you at the beginning we'd ask you questions you probably wouldn't get. Have to answer because you're just such a vulnerable guy. You're just so out there. So one of the things that Justin and I find in the Commonwealth group and working with our entrepreneurs is that so many of them have issues around abundance because they don't feel worthy, right? They think, oh, I did this 10 years ago, or I did this 5 years ago, or I'm really not deserving of the abundance and success because of something that I did in the past. Okay. So there it is. I'll just lay it out for you. I mean, you certainly you're not shying away from what you're doing or just minimizing what you're doing, but you don't let that determine your self-worth. So I don't know. That's a question or a comment. Just go with it.
That's loaded. That is loaded. I really, it's a couple filmmakers that I work with, and I hear them all the time saying what they used to do. And I'm like, all right, bro, but like, what are you doing today? Like, I work with some of the dopest filmmakers and photographers on the East Coast, man. And now the West Coast, because my buddy Johnny Jones from Zoe Pictures is out there, right? So, and I run across people who have done big things on big sets, and I'm like, all right, what is that doing for you right now? I think a biggest portion of this thing is self-awareness. We talked about it just a little bit, about how self-awareness makes you a better business person, and being a better business person makes you more self-aware. Like, it's just this ever revolving or evolving cycle of life that continues. I'll use myself as an example. I started this thing off by talking about how I started off in therapy maybe about 4-5 years ago after my divorce, and then really diving into some things like, okay, why do you do this, Ken? Why don't you do this? And that's where I found out that my first account from stealing came from the 7th grade, and that's why I found out that I stole because it was a thrill, not because of a necessity. All of these things, I give you another hard example talking about being vulnerable. My last girlfriend I cheated on her, right? Was that because she sucked or she was a horrible girlfriend or whatever? No. Right. When we broke up, she gave me a list of things, and like, I would have called her a bitter black woman, right? If I would not have been becoming self-aware. So I began to dissect some of those things like, okay, she said this. Let me see why she said that. At that, you know what? That's actually true. But I really don't want people to know that, so I ain't gonna talk about it, right? So again, I'm giving you several examples, Dave, of how I chose to become more self-aware, right? How I chose and how it made me to become a better business person. I had a client who Kelly Richmond Pope, Dr. Pope. She is a forensic accountant, right? So she studies fraud cases, and she's a professor at DePaul University. She actually did a documentary on a lady named Rita Cromwell, who used to be a city comptroller in Illinois, somewhere in Dixon, Illinois. Rita, she embezzled about 50 some million dollars as a city comptroller over like 15, 20-year period. So I said all that to say Dr. Pope knows a lot of money crimes and how it affects people. I did some video work for her and ended up talking about how I am a convicted felon from a money crime after I heard her talking about it. So we developed a relationship, and she began to tell me how I needed to kind of keep this under wraps since my business was really exploding and doing some amazing things. I felt like I don't care. Right? If you can't hire me because of my past, then you're not my client, and I'm not going to shy away from it anymore. I wish I had it's a picture on my wall back there, but I used to dress up. I used to put my slacks on and my belt, my matching logo on my shirt. I used to do all that, Dave, but it wasn't for me. I did that to impress everybody else. Like, let me go on site and let me impress these people. Like my filmmaking and photography was not good enough, right? But the more I become self-aware, I didn't say, you know what, fuck it, this my business. I can wear what I want to wear. That ain't what I said. But I said I'm no longer here to impress anybody. You hired me for my filmmaking and photography, so that's what I'm here to do, right? So this is a self-aware journey that I'm so glad that I got on, bro. It's very lonely. This journey is very lonely because we're so accustomed to putting on the front for everybody for whatever reason. I remember trying to cross every T and dot every I in the way I enunciate and pronounce my words. It's like, look, I didn't grow up speaking perfect vernacular. I didn't do well in English class, right? And I am who I am by the grace of God or by the decisions I made yesterday. I can't hide it and I can't deny it. However, when I started to become more self-aware as an individual, business went to a whole new level.
Yes.
Like, whole new level. People are attracted to who I am and not the face of who I try to put on. People are attracted to what I have to give them in exchange for their hard-earned money, not because of how I look when I show up on a job, right? So self-awareness, man, like, that's in the top percentages of things that I've done to become that's why my business is booming. And I'm gonna stop right there and give it back to you, Dave. Did that help out a little bit?
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna pass this back over, Justin, for 1 second, but I gotta
go ahead.
So this gets to actually what we said you were gonna talk about. It's not about relationship-based business. Authenticity.
That's it.
It's contagious, and it is the best business. It's like the secret of business, man. You've stumbled on the secret of the universe by just being authentic. Justin.
Well, and I would even go a step further. It's not just the secret to business, it's the secret to
life. Yes.
Right? Because you are happy, thriving. You don't have to, inauthenticity is exhausting. That's what we've been talking about in the Commonwealth so much. Dave was saying that inauthenticity is exhausting. It's awful. And so now you're tapping into this radical, healthy level of transparency where you get to show up as yourself every single day, and you don't have to put anything on to impress anybody. And I'm telling you, and something that was interesting about what you said, I want to push back on in a way, that how lonely this journey is. So I agree. The journey of authenticity is lonely until you get authentic enough and go through that dry spell and get to the other side, because then your vibe attracts your tribe. And all of a sudden you're around these people. And yeah, it's lonely in the middle where you're just starting to get authentic and you're leaning into that and people start dropping you. Like, that's happening to me all over the place right now. People just dropping me. And then on the other side, though, you start meeting the Ken Bransons of the world where I can just show up and be me. I don't have to be anybody else. And all of a sudden you went through this lonely spell and you arrive where your vibe attracts your tribe and you're working with the exact clients you want to work with and the around the people you want to be around. So just to encourage those people who are in that in between, you know, really like getting authentic, but they still haven't found their people, their tribe, just like it's coming, and the people are going to come. Could you comment on that a little bit?
Man, I love the fact that I like that quote, your tribe, your vibe becomes your tribe. I do think I am now, you know, around more self-aware individuals. What's hard about this is, I want to say I'm very judgmental. Like I pass judgment very fast. But never in a way to put myself on a pedestal or to seem that I'm better than somebody. However, I can look straight through bullshit. Like I can look straight through imposter syndrome. Go ahead, Dave.
Say something just to put. You're discerning. You're not judgmental. There's a world of difference.
That's a big difference.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go with what you're saying.
Well, thanks for correcting that for me. Because look, I don't know all the right words, bro.
Finer point on it. I'm just putting a finer point from my own, from Justin's and my own experience.
Okay, that's good. And that's good to know. But I encourage people. I ask questions like, why do you feel this way? Is there anything that you want to do different? Like, is there anything that I can help you do to become a better version of yourself? Like authenticity. I went through Leadership Triangle at the end of last year. Man, that's amazing. Authenticity is just what it's all about, just as it pertains to becoming a new leader, a better leader. Like, don't nobody like somebody who you can't have anybody to follow you if you choose not to be your authentic self. You can't even relate to them if you are this person that just got everything all together. Man, there are so many people who are attracted to me who don't comment or post on a lot of posts, but when I see them in the streets, it's like, Ken, man, thank you for just being you. You know why they can't comment on it? Because it shows what they're really thinking. It shows who they really are, and they don't want people to really see that part of them yet. So they can't say anything. Like, I used the word bitch on a post that I had a couple weeks ago. And I had a few of my female friends to, you know, they were offended. And in my mind, I didn't tell them this, and if they see it, they'll know how I really felt about their comment. Was this post that was not calling you a bitch. It wasn't calling all women bees. It was not doing that. This post was to a specific type of person, right? And the whole world would agree with me about that particular type of woman. She deserves to be called what I said, right? So this post didn't even apply to you, so you should not have even responded, right? That just lets me know that I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I need you to be a little bit more self-aware to know that, like, Ken's not talking to you. Ken's not talking to every woman, right? I need you to know that kind of stuff. So, but your vibe becomes your tribe. I try to be mindful of the things I say, and sometimes this transparency, it gets me in a lot of trouble. But I'm just like, hey, you got to in the bag, because the wheat and the tare grows together. You just got to separate it, right?
Right. Well, and at the end of the day, it's all going to come out that way. And I mean, even what you were saying about people taking things a certain way, something that we've been talking a lot about in-house is, if something offends you or if something moves you in a certain way, the first question should really be, what does this say about me? Right? So what in me is offendable? What in me, was triggered by that thing? It actually has nothing to do with it. Even if somebody does something horrible or says something horrible about me, to look first and say, okay, what does that say about me? Or what does that say about what's inside of me? If that's offendable and stirrable, then there's obviously something. And so for me, something that's been coming up is, this idea of being misunderstood, right? And realizing it still hurts me every time I'm misunderstood, especially by people close to me. And yet what that's showing me about me is that there's something in me that is not secure enough to just be okay being me. Like, what is that need to be understood? Where does that come from, right? So the introspective work has nothing to do with that person said at all. It's all about what I'm going through and, what needs to be healed within me, or what my sore spots still are. So I love your journey of self-awareness. I love this journey of authenticity. These are huge things just to show up in the world as your highest self. I think that is huge, huge, huge. So who are your ideal clients now? I know you'll take on whatever crazy projects, but is there kind of a, like, is it people who have crazy ideas and they don't know how to execute it? What's your ideal, the people you like working with the most?
The people I like working with the most are those who, you know what you want, and you can give me who needs to be in the video, and you can give me what needs to be said, and allow me my creative vision to put it all together to tell a compelling story. Okay, that's not the client that has the most money. That's not the client who has the biggest name that I can say, oh, I did a video for such and such, like, oh, I'm the shit now. Like, nah, that's not that type of client. If you look at my portfolio and see how I tell stories and you like it, and you can give me who you want to be in your video and and some of the key things that need to be covered, oh, that's my favorite client all day, every day.
Right.
I love it. So
for you to be creative within a scope, but enough room for you to really create.
Yes, those are corporate clients. Those are nonprofit clients. Those are mom and pop clients, wedding clients. I tell wedding stories the same way I tell a story for Forward Cities, or the one we did for the graduation y'all had for Leadership Triangle. I tell all stories the same exact way. We got a 5-step process that we do on every single story. So yeah, it don't matter, bro. It don't matter.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I tell you what, I need to have a sense of connection to it. So with that being said, I don't need you to tell me how to do it. Right. Like, cause I'm not connected to it. If you're like the brain and I'm the hand, and you're saying, hey, can you slide that back and cut this and add this right here? I'm like, that's not my, like, right. So those are clients that I don't like.
So I was going to take it back to kind of like, okay, how do they find you, blah, blah, but there's some question, there's something that's still lingering in my mind that I want to tease out with you. One more toughie for you, all right? I
love it, Dave. Keep it coming, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you keep hitting them as long as I keep watching your way. But this is so cool. This is what I mean about vibe and tribe. You never know what it's going to look like.
Right.
I was thinking I was a trial lawyer in a penitentiary town. I could have met you in that situation, right?
Wow.
There's so many interesting, but we're brothers now.
Right.
We're instant brothers. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds good. I mean, there's just something about authenticity meets authenticity.
Yeah.
And then the connection is immediate.
Yes, sir.
It's just a beautiful, and that's the beautiful way to live life. Because then you just get three of us like this, and it's not an interview anymore. It's just three guys talking.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I just want to acknowledge the beauty of that. And then it kind of gets back to the point I was going to make. The difference between judgment and discernment. Because we're the same way in the sense, we're quick. We pick people up right away. We smell bullshit. We smell authenticity. We feel love. We feel fear. Right? And that's discernment. And I think there's a way where we live right now, and oversensitivity and stuff, thinking, oh, I can't make that. I'm not allowed to be discerning because that. But I think, anyway, I'm just kind of teasing out with you the difference between seeing people and not denying the fact that you see who they are. Okay. Right? But seeing them and judging them are two different things. So anyway, it's just the way I think it's part of our owning our power. Owning our power is saying, I can discern, I can tell, and I'm not going to pretend I don't see what I see. It doesn't mean that your heart, I think you just, in a way, you just love everyone,
I do. Naturally, yeah.
I just wanted to point, you can say a little more on that, but I just want to point that out. The fact that you don't like bullshit, or you call someone a bitch, doesn't mean you don't love them.
Yeah. I think that is a good point, man. And just because I can see straight through it, and I'll tell you a bit on my personal side. When I started to experience some success in business financially, and become full time at this thing, I began to competence breeds confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. I got that from Ryan Ray. Right. So the more I became competent, the more confident I got. Hence why I got on some freaking red glasses.
Oh yeah, rocking them too.
You know what I'm saying? But I get to the point where, like, I am more confident, and because I begin to get more confident, I now have the confidence to step to a woman who I used to be intimidated by.
Yeah.
Right. So let me tell you this, like, a lot of the women that appear to have it all together on the outside. Because, you know, all the stuff we do is outward. Like, you can see if we are, you know, got criminal backgrounds, we got kids out of wedlock, we are liars, we're cheaters. Everything you can see is on surface level for most of us fellas, right? But the ladies are very internal. So what happens is you begin to have these conversations, confident conversations with women who are very successful. And the common thread that you see with some of these women is like, you are as damaged on the inside as I was on the outside, but you got a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, all this more degrees than a thermometer. You got your own car. You have a nice house and no kids. Like, you're very successful, making $60,000 or $70,000, $80,000 a year on your job. Like, but you're empty on the inside. You're hurting on the inside. Like,
that's actually to cover up.
Yes.
Right. It's like, that's actually their armor for a lot of people, right? Is success. If it doesn't come from the inside out, right, that you're a whole person, success is often your armor, or you get the big truck or the fancy car or whatever because you don't love you, right? So a lot of times all that achievement is not, it's good achievement from the wrong place.
Yes.
You know, and it's fueled by the wrong stuff. And I mean, even me in my life, I used to have this drive. Long story about why, but I'll skip all that. But this drive, almost like I had to prove that I deserved to exist, right? And it was this drive, like, man, I was driven, but it was driven from the wrong reason. So you would look at my life and it'd be like, he's succeeding or he's really disciplined or whatever, but it was like hate and fear that was fueling that. Now I'm more driven than ever, but it's love. Like, I just have to. I'm like, I got so much to give and I want to be a part of it. And the difference is night and day. Right? It might not look different in terms of what's happening in the world, right? I'm still achieving levels of success, but where it comes from, how my inner fulfillment, right? And then it's just showing up in the world in more raw and authentic ways. It's been a game changer for me. So I think you're absolutely right on that. Absolutely.
I wrote down a note right here, said inner. When we continue to put on that facade as an entrepreneur, like you got it together, you booming, you're doing this, and
right,
but you really ain't. Like, that you're not gonna last.
You can't.
Like, you're gonna be discovered. People gonna find out that you're a fraud. And you're not going to last in business. And the second thing you said was give. Like, I love the fact that you said you give, like, you got so much love to give. Man, my business is what it is today, 13 years later, because of how much I gave and how much I continue to give. Man, it's like, I go back and look at the financials sometimes and I see how much money we paid out to subcontractors, bro. Like, what's this, 2020? I don't know how much we paid 2020, but last year we paid out almost $30,000 of subcontractors. You understand what I'm saying, bro? Like,
right.
That's huge to me. Yeah, you're giving it, you're providing a service in exchange for money. But I think about other ways I give as well. Like, if it's a nonprofit, like, hold on, don't be knocking on my door in my inbox as nonprofit, but there are some ways that I give back to nonprofits. Like, we create win-win situations, and it ain't always about the money. Like, how can you help me get to my next level in exchange for some video work? We barter. We do a dollar for dollar barter, right? If you got a service that you offer that I can use, and I got video work that you can use, let's do a dollar for dollar barter. We ain't got to spend no money, and we can both come up together. Like, why not?
Well, and then the tax man doesn't have to see it. Bartering's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, and we all eating.
You're not supposed to say that on the air, brother.
No, but I mean, the tax man can't come after bartering.
Nah, ain't no money exchanged.
Look,
it never happened.
I don't give you advice on making coffee. Don't give me advice on the law about it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I don't want to pull rank on you on this one, but let's just. So Ken, this has been. I want to say this. So I think one of your powers is, because Justin and I do this a lot. You bring out the best in people.
You do.
That's what you do. You just brought out the best in Justin. You brought your A game. We brought our A+ game, and you brought your A++ game. And I just want everyone to see this, to know when they hire you for whatever they're doing, whether it's a motivational speaker or all these things, that they're, besides getting a great product and a great person, you're going to bring out the best in them.
Thank you, brother.
And I think you should take that clip out and put it on your social media.
All right.
It's so damn true.
Thank you.
So how do people find you?
Honestly, man, you'll be surprised how many people do find me and how they find me. I think the average
What's
person
the
that,
best way for people who want to find you, get in touch with you? Maybe that's the question.
yeah, got you. So, my phone number, 919-448-6681. The website, mastermind-productions with an s.com. I'm on Instagram, at Ken Branson. The business page is MMP Events. But I know where you were going with the contact information, but you'd be surprised how many people like, hey, I seen you do like a gig here and I seen you over here. It's like before they do business with me, they done seen me 4 or 5 times, before I'm certified then, right?
No, that's the truth. That's the
Right.
truth.
So then by that time they already know how to get in contact with me.
Yeah,
Yep.
trust building by that point. So
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, this is one touch point for some of our viewers who are just meeting Ken for the first time.
Yes.
This is your first touch point, but you're going to see him around.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you're out there
doing
doing
that easy.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Really appreciate having you on here. More success, more impact, and wishing you all the love in the world, man.
Thank you, fellas.